It's time for cold open time. And you got one. There's really even no need for discussion. I just want you to say it. Then I want a moment of silence for it to sink in. And then I'm going to hop into the top of the show and we're going to get this thing cooking.
Right. Okay, let's get it started. 100 years ago, everyone owned horses and only the rich owned cars. But now, everyone owns a car, but only the rich own horses.
Spot on.
Well done, sir.
I mean, that's
From the mind of Blaine Crane.
That's a
full circle.
That I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that.
As a family member, as an older brother, I'm proud of you for that.
I'm proud.
It's not me, guys. It's the glasses. We've talked about this, and the beard.
We have talked. It's the blue box.
Yeah.
Whenever you go like super high IQ like that, I'm going to call it Tanner time.
Yeah.
That's Tanner time.
Okay, I'm
Tanner,
to
it's
that.
TT.
TT.
It's
a little TT.
Nice TT.
I love it.
I love when you go TT.
Well, you know, I'm brain blasting. I'm Jimmy Neutroning. Right?
You are. You're Blaine.
I'm Blaine blasting.
You're Blaine blasting.
I like
wow, Blastoise, Squirtle guy. Washington Commanders head coach Ron Rivera joins us today. The Miami Heat take game one against the Celtics, and David Cone tells U.S. Soccer to get off his lawn. I'm Jake Crane. It's 2 o'clock. Turn up the volume. It's time for Crane and Company. Life is defined by moments and opportunities, some good and some bad. But one of the biggest moments of someone's life is one we all face at some point. You have one shot to either get where you want to go or get back to the top where you once were. Newly acquired Washington Commander quarterback Carson Wentz is facing one of these moments. He was a multi-natty winning quarterback at North Dakota State. He was the second overall pick in the draft and hit the ground running in Philadelphia as an Eagle. After his rookie campaign, he took 2017 by storm before a torn ACL sidelined him for the rest of the season. The next few years would be hampered by injury and inconsistent performance, leading to him being dealt to the Colts for the 2021 season. In Indy, he put up good numbers and stayed relatively healthy, but fell apart post-Malone style at the end of the season, keeping the Colts from making the playoffs. So now he's leading the Commanders into 2022 with some nice weapons on offense and a defense that has talented personnel and a chip on their shoulder after underperforming in 2021. At this point, though, we have to call a spade a spade. Wentz is running out of destinations to prove he can be a consistent threat while staying healthy doing it. The NFL has an interesting way of putting players who glow up quickly but then fade in the rearview mirror behind them faster than Max Verstappen. Wentz is almost 30, and if there's going to be a turnaround, it needs to happen fast. He has the ability to do it, but the hourglass is running out. And time's never running out to go get blue blogs, but we'll dive into that bad boy later. David Cone, former Michigan quarterback. Blaine Crane, currently my brother, going to bring you guys in. Carson Wentz, we know, has done some good things, but he's been beat up.
Yeah.
And Blaine, you have a great correlation of Carson Wentz's story up to this point.
Yeah.
And a nice, I guess, connection to a movie.
Yeah, well, a nice connection.
Not nice, but
Yeah,
it's a good word.
His career to me has almost been kind of a Final Destination-ish type of thing.
Like the movie.
Like the movie, a
How
Final
so?
Destination movie. Well, you're just waiting for something to go terribly wrong. And I'm not saying Carson Wentz is a bad player. I think he's a good player. But he's just been super unlucky. Like, you look at his injuries, it's not tic-tacky injuries. He's not rolling an ankle or spraining the wrist. Something's either tearing or breaking.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want to have. And I believe he's 29, about to be 30. I mean, he's beat up to the point now to where if he has one more injury like this, I don't think he can go anymore. I really don't.
Well, Cone, the hype of Wentz coming out, and listen,
Two pick.
his rookie campaign, Sam Bradford, they moved on from Sam Bradford in Philly, and he took over the reins. Wasn't horrible in his rookie year. It's not fair to ask a guy to come in his first year and start the whole season in the NFL as a rookie, outside of somebody that is just an absolute alien to have success on the field, big success early. But he did play pretty well. He showed some things, and then next year hit the ground running in 2017. I think he won like Player of the Week, something in week one, went absolutely nuts. And then obviously we know he gets hurt. Nick Foles ends up winning the Super Bowl with the Eagles. Nick Foles starts a couple weeks into 2018. Carson Wentz comes back, but it was always something, even when he was playing well, which he has played well. At Indy, if you look at the numbers in Indianapolis with the Colts, you would say good quarterback, top-tier quarterback.
Sure.
But you fell apart in the biggest moments. And I know it's not just him, but you're the quarterback and heavy is the crown. That's how it goes. You know that when you sign up for that job. the Jaguars derail you, and then you go to the Commanders and you get the Jaguars. I think it's their first home game. I'm trying to remember if it's week 1 or not. Does Carson Wentz, Cone? Because if you look at the NFC East, we know the Cowboys are there. The Eagles are looking better by the day. They just signed Bradbury, the corner, which was a good pickup there. Add. We've talked about what they've done, but I think the Commanders have a decent shot to win the East. How much time are you giving Carson Wentz in Washington to have success?
Well, I don't think they have a lot of options. I think they need to give him as much time as it takes. And it's a what have you done for me lately league. I mean, we all know this, but I think that with how close he was to being near perfect in that rookie season, a lot of teams have tried to capitalize on those high hopes that he had. But like you always say, injuries. We have to include injuries. They're part of the game. So we can't sit here and run some sort of hypothetical, whereas what would the ceiling be for Carson Wentz if he stays healthy? I mean, I don't see him staying healthy, and I have the Commanders finishing 3rd in that division. But I do think that off the strength of Coach Rivera, who has, look, he's played in the biggest game. He's done it at the highest level. I think that they should be able to at least make a run in that division, which I don't think is the strongest. I just like the Eagles in that division right now.
Well, they do refer to it as the NFC least. I don't think you're crazy saying that. We talked about Jalen Hurts yesterday. Blaine, one more. We have Coach Ron Rivera, Commanders head coach. Speak of the devil, coming on the show. Great interview. Caught up with him earlier this morning. But Blaine, when you look at this NFC East, do you still feel like it's the Cowboys to lose with Dak Prescott, with some of the additions that they've made? CeeDee Lamb, I know Amari Cooper has moved on, but CeeDee Lamb is next up. They do have pieces, and again, it's not the strongest division.
I do. You know, I think the Eagles are building for success, but I still don't believe in Jalen Hurts that much.
Do you believe in Jalen Hurts enough to win the NFC East? I'm not talking about Super Bowl.
I don't.
You don't think you don't believe in him enough to win the division?
No, I don't.
Even with AJ Brown
I think Dak's a better quarterback, and I think the Cowboys have pieces that are young and good, and I still believe in their offensive line. And Ezekiel Elliott has to play better. And I know their offensive line is getting older, but I just believe the Cowboys are still a better team. I think Dak can throw the Cowboys to a win before Jalen Hurts can.
Hey, I'll say one more thing on the quarterback position with the Commanders. When Dwayne Haskins, the late Dwayne Haskins, was coming out of college, I thought he could be a franchise quarterback for them. I really did. Now, we lost him too soon. I don't know what he would have done, with the Steelers or with any other team. So the Commanders were sort of put behind the 8 ball when he didn't live up to expectations early. Like you said, it's early. He was early in his career. So I think that at least going out and getting someone like Carson Wentz, who still does have that high ceiling, is a pretty good move for them while they try and figure out what the next 3, 5, and 7 years look like.
Yeah, and we asked Coach Rivera about why they went ahead and did that instead of waiting. You had Baker Mayfield that ended up coming available. They saw an opportunity, and they went and got him, and Coach Rivera explains why. Blaine, Booster Club real quick before we get Coach on here.
Okay, let's get it. 1.
I want 1,000 comments in the chat today, though, or I'm leaving replacement cone in the desert with no water for a week.
Woo! I'm getting told here I'm not giving Jalen Hurts enough love. Let me just say this. I think Jalen Hurts is a good player. All right, a good player.
You don't think he can win the NFC? You obviously don't think he's a good player if he can't win one of the worst divisions in the NFL.
You can have the greatest receivers in the world, but if you can't hit them when they're open, then I don't believe it. Jalen Hurts, great runner.
You don't think he's going to take steps? You don't think he's going to improve? Jalen Hurts seems like a guy that can improve, that is willing to improve, that has the ability to improve. Do you think he just doesn't have it in him? Is that it? Do you think he's not a natural thrower?
No.
Okay, there you go.
I don't.
Hook, line, sinker. There it is.
I agree.
It's not.
I think I would actually take Dak Prescott over him.
I'd take Dak over him, too.
But the moves the Eagles have made this offseason are more impressive to me. I still think they can win the division.
Deep down inside, and this may sound a little nuts because Jalen hasn't had as many opportunities as Dak, with the game on the line in clutch moments, I'd almost rather have Jalen Hurts. I saw you do it at Bama when Tua was out. I know you got your job taken. You came back in, brought him back. I know it's different college in the NFL, but you got to play where you're playing.
I mean, you're not wrong, but it's a lot easier to bring Alabama back in college than bring an NFL team back.
I get
Especially
that.
when it's Alabama.
But you still got to
I still watch Jake Coker.
Georgia was pretty good.
I watched Jake Coker and Blake Sims win national championships by turning around and handing the ball off.
Georgia was pretty good.
That was a different day.
That
was a different day. Different era.
Yeah, different century.
Different everything.
But very excited. We caught up with Coach Rivera from the Commanders a little bit earlier today. Booster Club, you're going to love this one. Make sure you guys check this out. Let's go ahead and run that interview. All right, everybody, very excited to bring in head coach of the Washington Commanders and the first NFL head coach I've ever interviewed, really from the jump, Ron Rivera. Coach, I appreciate you taking some time.
No, this is cool. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I want to start right off the bat. You know, different teams in the NFL are in different positions. Again, you've been through it. You played in it. You've coached at different places and at different position groups, and now head coach. When you look at where you guys are, going to get Carson Wentz with the defense you have, to me that speaks volumes about where you think you guys can be this year. What does it mean to go get a quarterback like Carson Wentz, and what is the message that sends to Commanders fans?
Well, I'd like to believe, first and foremost, it tells the guys that we are pretty confident and very comfortable where we are in terms of our roster. Mm-hmm. You know, we felt defensively we had a little fall off last year. We had some really good moments that show what we were capable of, but we didn't live up to the hype. So I think, you know, going out, getting a quarterback now that can help sustain some drives, put some points on the board is going to help our defense. But more importantly, I think it's going to take advantage of some of the positions that we have on the offensive side. We feel good about our skilled positions. We like the group of wide receivers we have. We think we have a good young group of tight ends led by Logan Thomas. We get Logan back from injury this year. We'll feel really good about that. And we like the playmakers we have at running back. We like, you know, Antonio Gibson, who rushed for 1,000 yards for us. We got a very versatile J.D. McKissick. And we went out and drafted Brian Robinson from Alabama. So we feel, you know, we've done the basic thing you're supposed to do when you get a quarterback, and that's protect him and surround him with playmakers.
And, Coach, you know, defensively, you look at the personnel you guys have. You know, you've got a lot of heavy personalities in that room that want to do really well. You're a defensive guy yourself. You know what it's like to be a leader on that side of the ball. How is the defense? Are they getting ready to have a chip on their shoulder this year? I know they're ready to get back out there and get chopping at it. Not that they didn't have big moments, like you said, but I'm sure they want to be more consistent overall as a group.
I think that's the biggest thing is they want to be more consistent, and they do have a chip on their shoulder because they have something to prove. You know, 2 seasons ago, played very well as a defense, went out and played and I believe lived up to the expectations. Last year, I think we got away from what got us to where we were, and that was we played discipline football, and that means taking control and handling the little things. You know, I think we kind of got away from the little things, and it got us. It bit us right in the backside, mostly because we were undisciplined. They found when guys weren't in their gaps. They found when we dropped coverages. And that reflects on us in terms of coaching first and foremost. We got to demand the discipline, and when we don't see it, we got to hold them accountable.
For sure.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Something we get asked a lot about on this show are different head coaching styles. Some head coaches want to be more CEO types, delegate to their coordinators. Some head coaches want to be involved in set game plans and still call plays. What is your approach, and how forcefully do you take the reins when your team isn't performing or executing the way you would like?
Well, for the most part, I've always kind of been that CEO when it comes to who our coordinators are. You know, when I had Sean McDermott here, when I had Mike Shula for the most part, they called the offenses, they called the defense. Did I have input? Absolutely. Whenever I wanted something, I would just speak up. But for the most part, I trusted them to do their jobs. You know, one of the things that I have learned being a head coach more so than anything else is that you can delegate the authority, but you got to make sure you set the standard. If you don't tell them exactly what you want and how you want it, they're going to do it the way they know how. So again, anytime something happens or occurs, it always starts with me first and foremost, because again, you know, what you allow is what you accept. So again, I've got to make sure I set the standard.
Yep, what you allow is what you accept. I like that. Now, the game has changed a lot since you yourself played linebacker, mostly on offense, and then defense is kind of adjust after that. What aspects of the game really make you just step back and say, wow, this is new, this is different, and we have to have a solution for this?
You know, what's kind of happening throughout the league right now, and the league is always cyclical in terms of play and style of play. You know, at one time it was, you know, you had these bunch of little fast, quick wide receivers could get away from these big corners, you know, the fun bunches that everybody used to have. And then all of a sudden what happened was teams started, when defenses adjusted to offenses, then teams came back with these big offenses and they would just power it down people's throats. And now what we've seen is we've gone back to the athletic, versatile wide receivers, the quarterbacks that have the ability to get the ball out of their hands quickly and into playmakers' hands. So now as defenses, we have to adjust. We've got to be able to handle what we see right now. And that's what we're doing more so than anything else, is we're adjusting to what we're getting from the college ranks. Yeah. You know, the college ranks is kind of like the test. if you watch and see what happens with college football, you're going to see what's happening to the NFL.
No doubt. A good quote I've heard on that before is the first coach, it might have been you actually, Jake, the first coach to run the wishbone won a national championship. The last coach to take it out got fired.
That's exactly right. Well, too, it's funny. We always joke talking about the cyclicality of football. You know, you look at offenses in college football right now, 20 years from now, we may all be running the triple option.
Exactly.
I feel like the RPO is a way to move back to the triple option as we get closer to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's almost a circle. Coach, appreciate you coming on. Hey, I want to go back to the draft a little bit. This draft was extremely deep with wide receiver talent. What stood out to y'all and make y'all go with Jahan Dotson? And did y'all trade back in that first round knowing that he would still be on the board?
Absolutely. We trained back knowing that the group of guys that we really liked were still available, more so than anything else. We would have been happy with pretty much, whichever one of those quality receivers we got. And Jahan was one of the guys that we had up in that group. And when he was available, we jumped on it just because we like who he is as a young man. We think he's a very pro-ready guy that's going to be able to step in and help the team right away.
Yeah, I agree. Penn State, absolute star there.
Yeah, he torched Auburn.
Yeah, I remember that. All right, I'd love to get your opinion on this as well. Saw a little change in rules in the NFL. What's your opinion on the overtime rule change in the playoffs?
I get it just because when you get into the playoffs, it's a little bit different because you're talking about the quality of the team as well. I mean, you could have, the top team playing the worst team in the regular season, and it's a little different. But when you get to the playoffs and you're talking about, the top 10, 11, 12 teams in the league, that means you're playing with the top 10, 11, 12 quarterbacks.
Yep.
And to not give them an opportunity, let's say the number 6 quarterback, they win the coin toss in overtime, they score right away, and to not give the top guy an opportunity to either tie the game or win the game, that's kind of tough for us to swallow. And we heard the fans, we heard the other teams in the league, we heard the players, and realizing that we've got to create some sort of equity. That's pretty much what we've done. The thing you have to be careful about that, though, is when you start saying, well, you toss the coin. Team A gets the ball first, they go down and score. Now you give Team B a chance, and Team B goes down and score. Now it's the next team to score wins. Well, that team was Team A who won the coin toss. Mm-hmm. Well, people go, well, that's not fair. Team A won the coin toss, and they got the ball twice, and Team B only got it once. So are we going to say, well, you get the ball again?
Yeah.
So we got to be careful. We really, truly do. You got to be real careful when you start adjusting, and you got to wonder what those those unintended consequences are whenever you make a rule change.
Yeah, Coach, I want to kind of ask you this. I've thought this as well. I've coached for a while, obviously not nearly as high up and as long as you, but I always find it interesting when rules are different in the playoffs and then the regular season. I'm still trying to get over why you just don't do it in the regular season as well. Wouldn't that help you as a coach? You're not having to prepare your team now for a different scenario once you get in the playoffs, or add to that extra, Saturday walkthrough a little bit.
Well, you do that no matter what. During your walkthrough, you have your 2-minute drills, your final play, your go for it plays. You got to have it plays in your last 2-point play. You go through those scenarios and you work them no matter what. Mm-hmm. But the reason you have to, I think the rules are different, is that in the regular season, the last thing you want to do is see a game go on. I've been part of those as a player and been part of those as a coach, where we literally won a game with just a matter of 30 seconds to go after playing 5 complete quarters. And so what happens is that next week is it wears you down a little bit. And I think that was really one of the big concerns. That's why you see, the shortened overtime in the regular season, because, again, that's one of the considerations everybody took.
Definitely. And, Coach, I got a couple more for you and let you get back to work. I know you guys are grinding in there. Blaine talked about the draft with Jahan Dotson, really big pickup for you guys, giving you another playmaker on the outside. But you got Sam Howell in the 5th. If you'd have told me that you were going to get Sam Howell in the 5th, I'd have told him who struck him out and why is he playing baseball. How shocked were you guys to be able to get him there, a guy that a lot of people think can take some big steps and have a chance to make an impact down the road, and a guy to sit behind Carson Wentz that's in a good position?
Very much so. Honestly, Sam's a guy we liked a lot. We really did. The thing that I remember more so than anything else is what he did the previous season in the 2020 season. We went and we looked at De'Ami Brown, who we ended up drafting in the 3rd round in the 2021 draft. We liked De'Ami. The thing that caught our attention, though, was the quarterback. And knowing that we may be in a quarterback situation, so we studied him, we got to know who he is, then we followed what happened in 2021. And everybody said, well, he's not playing as well. Yeah, well, his supporting cast wasn't the same. His 2020 cast gave him a chance to highlight and feature what he's capable of doing. Okay, 3 of that offensive line went from college in 2020 to the NFL in 2021. 2 tight ends left, 1 ended up in the NFL. Okay, 2 running backs, both were drafted, ended up in the NFL, and he loses Diami and another wide receiver. So he lost a lot of veteran help around him. And so for the most part, he's a guy that had to play on his own to a degree. And if you think about what he accomplished, he threw for over 3,000 yards, rushed for over 1,000, and accounted for over 30 touchdowns on their offense. That's pretty doggone productive. And so to see him sitting there in the 5th round, at the top of the 5th round, and we own that pick, we said, this is a value. We got to jump on this. This is a young man that we consider and develop, and there's no pressure on him to do anything right now other than sit back, learn his craft, and become very good at it for the future.
Yeah, exactly. And Coach, I want to end it with this one. I want to bring it full circle. I started off asking you about Carson Wentz. I'm going to end it. You guys obviously wanted him. Y'all went and got him. You did not wait. We've seen the craziness of the quarterback carousel now with Baker Mayfield, some of these other guys out here. What was it about Carson Wentz that made you guys say, you know what? Like J.G. Wentworth and People's Money, we want him and we want it now.
Yes. The big reason more than anything else is you go back and you look at him statistically, and the guy fits in almost every category in the top 10. Okay, and you sit there and go, wow, look at that. And then we heard his teammates. We heard what the guys in Indianapolis said about him. Okay, all the positivity that came from the players. That to us was very important, talking about how he fit in the locker room, how he led, how he worked with his teammates. I mean, that was amazing stuff. I mean, Darius Leonard talked about him. T.Y. Hilton did. Taylor, the running back, talked. All 3 guys were so positive that we felt so comfortable and confident in what we were doing. And so that was one of the things. But the thing that we look at and the thing that we point to and say, gosh, if we can get this guy back to where he's been. And I'm talking about the year he was 11-2 and hurt his knee when he was giving it his all for his team. Okay, he put it all on the line. That was impressive to us because if he doesn't get hurt, heck, who knows? He's got a chance to win the league MVP, and he's got a chance to win the Super Bowl. Now, they did win the Super Bowl, but he was hurt, and that was a tough pill for him. And if we can get the young man back to that type of quality football play, it gives us a chance to be a good football team.
Well, it's going to be exciting to watch, Coach. I know you guys are going to really be competitive in the NFC East. Hope to get in the playoffs and see what happens from there. Really excited to have you on. Would love to have you back on again. Like I said, I know you're a busy man. Congrats on all the success. Good luck on the stuff off the field as well, Coach. We're all rooting for you and excited to watch you guys this season.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for your time.
Anytime.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach Rivera, always fun. That was really good. And we really, my IQ just went up 40 points, and I went from a 9 to a 9.5. So now it's at 800. But no, Coach Rivera, great interview. I think we hit everything in the hemisphere of the Commanders outside of why they're struggling to restructure people's contracts, like while everybody else in the NFL is able to do it. Got a lot of that from Commanders fans as well. But I want to jump into our college football quick hitch, which is my favorite segment of the show for obvious reasons. And we're going week 1 upsets, not week 0. Week 1 upsets in college football, September 3rd. Blaine, start us out. Who are you feeling maybe going down like a sweet muffin?
Listen to what I have to say.
Uh-oh.
Everybody listen. First of all, look phenomenal in those glasses.
Got to see the screen.
If I had to pick, all right, I'm not taking Notre Dame to beat Ohio State.
I wouldn't either.
With C.J. Stroud. Probably going to make a lot of people mad, but that's fine. I don't care. Give me the Oregon Ducks.
Wow.
To beat the Georgia Bulldogs. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
1, Bo Nix is having fun.
Okay.
All right, he's having fun. He might be a dark horse for Heisman. Georgia lost 10 players to the draft. Hard to replicate Jordan Davis and N'Kobe Dean. Senior leadership. Now, will Georgia be great on defense? They will. All right. Oregon's returning all of their offensive linemen. Bo Nix has to be the difference in this game. And another thing that I'll say is Dan Lanning knows the ins and outs and how things work when it comes to the Georgia football team. All right, he knows what they want to do on defense, and he knows what they want to do on offense. All right, Is this a little bit of a reach? Yeah, that's sure. But I can still go back to a game last year, week 1, all right, where neither offenses in that game, because I know Georgia's defense was that good and Clemson was too, but I still think there will be a little bit of a hangover from that national championship game. And I'm sorry, and I always say this, I still don't believe in Stetson Bennett carrying a team as for throwing and
another year of this?
To win.
I got to sit after he wins.
I won't do it. You put Stetson Bennett on any other team, realistically, in the SEC.
But he's not on any other team.
They're not winning a national championship. He is a mediocre.
He's not on any other team.
He is a mediocre quarterback.
Who's a champion?
Some are.
National
But
champion.
thank you for agreeing he's mediocre. I appreciate that.
No, I didn't agree with that. I just said
you said and he's a national championship.
I'm not going to relitigate the Stetson Bennett thing because I've already been proven right. Do I think you're absolutely nuts thinking Oregon has a shot against Georgia? Yes, I do. It's in Atlanta. Oregon's coming into the Thunderdome. Mm-hmm. The Dan Lanning angle is interesting, but do they have the players to do it? Georgia did lose a lot, but they return a lot. They recruit pretty well. And Bo Nix hasn't exactly set the world on fire when it's come to playing Georgia. Now, does Oregon have a better situation on offense than Auburn did? Yes. So did the mom and pop shop down the street when you look at what Auburn had up front last year. But I can maybe kind of see an avenue where Dan ambushes them. I'm going to tell you what's really going to happen week 1.
Okay.
A team that I think is going to win the Pac-12 is going down. And there's a new head coach in Gainesville, Swamp. Liked what they did in the portal. AR-15, flipped off the safety switch. He's ready to fire. Utah will lose in the Swamp week 1. Not because I don't think Utah is going to win the Pac-12, because playing at Florida with a new head coach, with a roster that's gotten better, not where it needs to be, I think Florida wins this game. Cameron Rising, you go back last year, a lot of people said if he starts the whole season, Utah may go undefeated, and I don't think you're wrong. But you don't walk into Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
You don't do that. That's
week 1 with a lot of momentum that Florida's garnered during the offseason with some of the guys they have and just waltz through it. You lost Devin Lloyd. That's a big one. He's in the league now. I know you return a lot in the secondary. You got guys coming off injury in the secondary. You're somewhat built like an SEC team on offense the way you play. You can rumble and tumble. But the Swamp is the difference here. I like Florida to take down Utah, who I think was 4th in Mark Schlabach's power rankings in college football. Week 1, never forget, when you come down to the dirty, you don't walk away clean.
Billy Napier will have success at Florida, and I think AR-15 will as well. They just won't beat Utah.
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
AR-15 has to make a lot of strides.
Good. I love this.
And those are exciting picks. Those are exciting, and sexy choices there. But let me tell you what's going to happen.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to the MAC. Remember the MAC? We used to watch them last year. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Bet the over, please.
Kent State is going to roll into Washington, and they're going to beat those boys up. Okay?
You got Kent State.
Kent State is going to roll into Washington, and it's going to be a fist fight. And they're going to leave out of there with a W.
Really?
Okay, that's what's going to happen. Now, first-year quarterback, they have a new quarterback, Colin Schlee, who's replacing Dustin Crum.
Yep.
It was exciting, but this kid's 6'3", he's bigger, served as a backup under Crum for 2 years. Kent State's going to walk into Washington, and they're going to say, listen, you didn't know about the MAC before?
Montana did it too.
They're going to roll back to Ohio, and they may say, "Look, we might."
Washington hadn't been dominant. Blaine, I love where you're
Ohio and say we're the best team in Ohio.
I think there's a whole hell of a lot better chance of that happening than Oregon losing to beating Georgia. But Blaine, what's the Booster Club saying?
Crane Crazy CPA 12 says Jake needs to take those glasses off. He looks more and more like a WW2 vet grandpa with those on.
I like them. I dig it.
Well, some things really hurt.
I'm cherry picking comments out of the chat.
That was funny. No, I'm not. It's the first one I saw. It's right there.
Yeah, well, you know what? How about you ask a question about football? You're over there looking like Mr. Rogers after you retired and became a drunk.
I didn't say it. You look like Mr. Rogers too.
Yeah, well, you're wearing exactly what he wore. I'm waiting for a train to come in front of you and you to tell me a story about, like Miss Lippy, about
I don't even know what Mr. Rogers is.
Well, welcome to the neighborhood. Read me something from the Booster Club.
All right. Texas Ed, Utah has not dealt with that early September heat in Florida.
Listen, I'm telling you guys right now, Utah, I like them. I've been gassed up Utah. Kyle Whittingham, maybe the most underrated coach in college football, but the IQ just went up 40 when I put the blue blocks on. And you know what it said to me? Right when I put it on, it was literally like I was on the Eagle line, like I was Shia LaBeouf, like a voice just popped in my head, and it was like, Florida takes down Utah week 1. Now the light's about to turn red. Take a left.
You know what? Give me those before I do my picks.
We'll see. We'll see.
Just
anything else in the Booster Club lane?
Just community glasses now?
Yeah.
Anything about football?
Don't get any fingerprints on them.
Hey.
Or down. Well, when I put them on, it was like somebody breathed all over them. It was like
Then give me them back.
I'm going to look.
Give me them back.
I'm going to.
Be quick and plan.
No, okay. Tell me what's up in the neighborhood.
All right, BJPS says, can Oregon meet or exceed Georgia's level of physicality?
No.
Dan Lanning.
No. Dan Lanning is not going to play a snap.
Physicality is a mindset.
No, it's not. It's a science.
It's part mindset and it's part players.
True.
It's had 8 months.
It's 20% mindset and 80% you got to be strong enough to
if they don't win and if the spread's 16.5, they definitely cover.
You're picking Oregon to cover the 16.5?
Yeah.
Is
I
that
don't know. I
what
have
the
to
line
look
is?
at it.
Is the line out?
FanDuel earlier, a little early line that came out, it was plus 16.5.
You taking a sharp already?
I mean,
Wow,
In
that's
May?
the sharpest of the sharps.
Nice.
I mean, prepared.
Like
Well
you
done.
got to tell the kids not to go in that drawer that shows sharp.
And hey, it could be Bo Nix's first time ever to beat Georgia. In his
Well,
career.
it's got a better chance than he did last year. One more and then
Han and Hunter says Nix is the most inconsistent quarterback of all time. I would say you're half correct. Half of it is because he had nothing on Auburn's offense.
Yeah, and Auburn's system under Gus Malzahn was a pop-up book on offense. I mean, you open it up and read it to your kids before they go to sleep at night. But speaking about opening it up and reading, if you want to watch or listen to the rest of the show, head over to thedailywire.com and become a member. Or listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with somebody you haven't talked to in forever, and then tell everybody else that you've ever met. We'll be right back with another great half of a great show at a great place during a great time. All right, it's Wednesday, so you know what that means. Around this time on the show every Wednesday, we kick it over to one of the coolest segments anybody's ever thought of. Our 6'7" curmudgeon Gran Torino Clint Eastwood style of a friend, David Cohn, gets pissed off about a lot of things. One thing's really got him irked today, and he's been really gassed up. So it's time for another segment of Cohn, drop some knowledge on these fools.
Today, I am telling U.S. Soccer to get off my lawn. It's like Christmas came early, boys.
Woo!
It's like Christmas came early with this news dropping. For those of you who have not been tracking this for the last few years like I have, the U.S. men's and women's soccer team reached a, quote, historic collective bargaining agreement to equalize compensation for both teams. U.S. Soccer President Cindy Cohn, no relation to me, thank goodness, led the charge on this effort, saying this is much deserved and this is the right thing to do. I hate to break it to her and to the women's soccer team, but more people would rather watch the men's team lose than the women's team win. In the previous World Cup cycle, the last place men's team made more in pool prize money than the first place women's team. That's not discrimination, that's commercialization. That's not sexism, that's capitalism. Dare I say liberalism, at least what that term used to mean. The prize pool for the 2022 World Cup for the men will be $400 million. The prize pool for the women in 2023 will be $60 million. So what we're going to do in the United States is we're going to pool that money together and we're going to divvy it up equally between the players. Let me ask one simple question. If the women's national team made 7 times the revenue for winning the World Cup than the men did for not getting there or not getting out of the group stage, would there be one comment about equal pay? Of course not. That's a rhetorical question that really doesn't need to be answered. All right. Can you imagine LeBron James, who made $41 million in his salary, but didn't make the playoffs, having to split his salary equally with Diana Taurasi because she made the finals? That doesn't make any sense to me. Because this is not about equality. And you know what? I'm not even mad at the women's team. You don't get in life what you deserve. You get what you go out and take. And the women went out and took it, and the men's team just allowed it to happen. So when I'm asked on this show if I think the United States men's soccer team will ever win the World Cup, forgive me when I laugh hysterically. All right? And just for the record, I really don't care. I don't care if the men make any money and the women keep all of the money. I won't be watching the men play soccer. I won't be watching the women play soccer. But what I do care about is upholding systems of meritocracy in this country. So I'll end by addressing the young ladies in this country who look up to some of these stars and think that this is a historic achievement. What I'll say is be grateful for the success that you're able to have. Don't become a victim. Be grateful to live in a country that upholds and supports the dreams and ambitions of women. Because when you're not grateful, it's a slap in the face to the platforms and the systems that have allowed you to have success. Okay? So, U.S. soccer, all of you, get off my lawn.
Well,
Man, that was really good.
Well done, sir.
The best point out of multiple good points that I think you made is this is so on par for U.S. men's soccer. Maybe the softest group that we have that plays anybody outside of the country or in professional sports. Even Alexi Lawless a couple years ago, because we struggled to make the World Cup, and there's many reasons why, said y'all got to stop being so soft. But this is the mindset of U.S. men's soccer. Just take it. I don't care what's in between your legs. If the product is good enough, people are going to watch it. If people watch it, you can make money off of it. That money that's made off of it should be split between the people that are making the money. You shouldn't take the money that you're making and give it to other people just because they're complaining about it. And the women's team has had a ton of success. Yeah. And I'm not saying, look, go try and get your money. It worked. They saw a lane to take advantage of the U.S. men's soccer team because they're Charmin ultra soft. And you'll have a bunch of people out there that say, oh, no, this is great. This is fantastic. This is how it should be. Imagine if the same thing happened to you on the flip side. Imagine if you made all this money and they came to you and said, you know what? You have to take this money and give it to this group of people just because they're complaining about it. So, look, am I surprised? No. Unfortunately, that's half the problem. U.S. men's soccer, I'm going to watch the World Cup. I'm going to root for them because I love watching the World Cup. Yeah. And that's where I'm from, and I love my country and all that. And the funny part is it's not political. It's about money. We're talking about money. If Congress, like me and you were talking about before the show, had mandated that this happened, that would be political.
That's politics.
We'd still be pissed off about it, and we may still mention it. But this was just voluntary. You know what? We're sick of hearing you complain. It almost falls under the realm of, okay, you're complaining, I'm just going to give in. You know what that word's called? Capitulation. And they've scored more goals with capitulation than they've scored on the actual pitch.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And I've tracked this for the last few years, and when I would ask people their opinion on it, they'd say, oh, that's kind of a controversial topic. I'm like, yeah, it should be for not the reason that you're saying it
That's
is.
Exactly right.
You know, I mean, my thing is, if just like I said, if the women made 7 times the revenue for winning and being better on the international stage than the men did, and the men were complaining,
I'd say the same thing.
I'd be getting up and doing a get off my lawn on the men's team.
I don't care what's in between your legs. Again, the way it works, if your stuff's popular, it's going to sell. If it sells, you should get the product. If it's not, or the profits, you shouldn't get the profit. That's how it should be. But no, you complain in this society enough, and you look a certain way, you're going to get what you want. It's part of the deal.
I'm so confused. So, soccer's a sport?
Oh, here we go. I'm not going down this road.
That's a real thing. I think they need to be more focused on being able to beat 15-year-old boys from Dallas and not get beat 6-1.
That's true.
About this. It's to me.
Can you imagine this in the NBA, though?
Can you imagine this in everyday life?
It costs $350 to go watch Steph Curry play versus whatever the ticket price is of the WNBA, and saying, no, we have to pool all of this collectively because it's the right thing to do.
Just imagine this. If I owned a lawn mowing company and I went and mowed a whole neighborhood full of yards, and you mowed 2 neighborhoods or 2 houses in that neighborhood while I mowed all the other ones, and then you came to me and said, oh, well, I'm not getting anybody calling me about mowing their lawn, and you're doing all of it, so let's just split all the profits 50-50. That's not how it works. You're teaching people to not get what they earn, which, like you said, you don't really get what you earn. You get what you go take. And it's a high IQ play by the women. Shocker.
Well, you know, I come from a family where my mother is one of the strongest people I know. Not strongest women, one of the strongest people I know. And
she lifted for the United States, right? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
She's still a United States resident.
Okay, there we go. That said lifted, like weights.
It sort of undermines the idea and the concept of strong, independent women when you need your payment to be subsidized by the men.
Yeah, it's just there's a way, but I don't think this is the way. There's a way. I don't think this is the way. What does the Booster Club say, Blaine?
Rad Dad Joke says, hey, guys, why can't everybody just get a participation trophy?
That's exactly. That's what it is. It's what it is. Here, you showed up. Congrats. What else, Blaine?
Let's get in here. All right, Jack Doe 1196 says, like I said, soccer is not entertaining to most Americans. The only reason it's a popular sport and thanks is to most countries outside of America.
Yeah, again, and something America's not the best at, so we're trying to be the best at it. We don't know how, and we're going down the wrong path, in my opinion. But again, it's something where, we dominate basketball. If there was football, we dominate in football. We dominate basically everything. This is one thing that we don't dominate at. Therefore, I think that's what makes it popular. And look, the World Cup's fun to watch. High-level soccer is fun to watch. I love watching the English Premier League. I love watching Bundesliga. That may be where we differ.
And I would love to support it. I would love to turn it on and be able to pull for it just because it's an American team. I don't care that much about swimming, but when Michael Phelps was going on his run, you best believe I was watching it on television, and I wanted him to break the gold medal record.
White, snowboard.
I want to do that for the women's U.S. soccer team, too. I want to see a group of women who are so grateful and thankful that they live in a country where they're able to be number one.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a lot of countries around the world don't even let women walk outside or drive. We live in a country where we support the women who can be number one, and instead it's a slap in the face to everything that the systems that this country has built.
Definitely. Well, you know what's not a slap in the face?
Hit me.
5 big questions.
Oh, let's go. 5 big questions. Y'all ready?
Let's dance.
Start in the NBA. The Celtics, the Heat beat the Celtics in Game 1. How much did the absence of Horford and Marcus Smart contribute to this loss?
It obviously contributes. Marcus Smart runs the show at the top, and Al Horford's a big piece, especially offensively, that can move in the front court and the back court, can hurt you from three, can back you down, make some plays. We saw him go off the other night, even though Grant Williams has really stepped up. And early in this game, Robert Williams had stepped up. People were saying Al Horford who? Because Robert Williams was dominating. Here's what cost the Celtics. It was a horrible third quarter. You came out, you looked good early, you silenced the crowd. The Heat were a little bit off balance. You go to halftime, you're up 8. Then you come out in the third quarter, you lose 39-14 and go 2 for 15 shooting. I don't care who you're playing in the NBA playoffs. That can't happen. It can't happen. It surprised me to see it with the Celtics. I know they've struggled shooting at points, but they found ways to get the ball in the basket. You got outscored by 25. Jimmy Butler scores 27 of his 41 points in the third quarter. And Jimmy Buckets went nuts. Listen to this line. Jimmy Butler goes 41, 9 boards, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. That's a good night at the office. Speaking about blocks, I've watched a lot of basketball in my life. That game last night had 20 blocks total. But it wasn't just, I'm tipping the ball barely through the air. There were some absolute elite blocks. Bam Adebayo was putting on a block party. You brought out the DJ and even Theis. Theis had a huge block. I forgot who was going to the rack. I think it may have been Jimmy.
The backup center.
The backup center blocked him, but who was going to the rack for the Heat? I think it may have been Jimmy Butler. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But the Heat overwhelmed them because of that third quarter. And listen, this series is going to be a fistfight all the way through. Without Marcus Smart, without Al Horford, I was surprised that the Celtics got out to the start that they did. I was surprised that it was really this close, but you saw it over time. What do we always talk about? Gravity, right? You may be able to get through it with a quarter. You may be able to get through it all the way to halftime, but eventually it is going to hit you at some point. That lull was the third quarter, but by no means is this series over. By no means was this indicative that the Celtics don't have a chance. This one's probably going 7, but defensively, I know the overhit last night, but that was everything defensively that we thought it was going to be, in my opinion.
No, I would agree. And you look at it with Smart being out and Horford being out. The Celtics, I was pretty sure, led this game in rebounding. Led this game in assists, and that's one of each of what those players do. But at the end of the day, Jimmy Buckets took the game.
He took the game.
That's what he did. Jimmy's that type of guy, when he gets going and that mid-range is going early, that he's not the type of guy who sits around and waits for the game to come to him. Mm-hmm. Jimmy goes and gets it. Tatum had 29. I think Brown had 24. Jimmy ended with 41. And Gabe Vincent, right now, that point guard for the Heat, is playing extremely well.
He had 17, Hero had 18.
Extremely well. And if he's going, and if Strauss is shooting that 3 and they're hot from 3, you got to remember, these guys are shooting at home. All right, obviously you're going to make it a better clip at home. I think this series is going to go 7.
Okay, so I had Celtics in 6 with the thinking that they would need to win games 3 and 4 in the TD Garden and obviously win game 6 in the Garden and then steal 1 on the road. So they didn't win game 1, but I still think they can do that, even though the more and more I watch Jimmy Butler, the more and more I realize, man, he is a superstar, and maybe he's finally found a home. He bounced around for so long.
Yeah, and I do want to make this point. Everybody is talking about the game Jimmy Butler had, and they should. Again, that stat line I read, you're affecting the game in multiple ways. But Blaine brings up a good point, and this is the difference in a series as opposed to a one-off game, like we have in football. The supporting cast for the Heat and the Celtics are going to dictate who wins this series. And when I think about that supporting cast, I think about Strus, I think about PJ Tucker, I think about Vincent. We know Hero coming off the bench. I don't put him as in that category as a role player. When I look at the Celtics, I look at Grant Williams. I look at Pritchard, just guys like that. Robert Williams, I don't put him there because he's their starting center. Al Horford, I can't put him in there. He's done a lot in a long career. So the supporting cast is what's going to dictate if somebody's going to steal a game on the road in this series, which I don't think they will. That's going to be the reason, because somebody freaks out like a Grant Williams did in Game 7 for the Celtics and goes for 27, or Max Strus, who can get really, really hot, or Vincent, who can get really, really hot, or PJ Tucker, who is absolutely lethal, especially from the corner, knows his role. That's, again, like I said yesterday, what excites me about this series.
Okay, so you think this goes scratch for each home?
I think it's probably going scratch.
Okay. All right, so the Mavs have earned themselves a spot in the Western Conference Finals. What do they need to do to upset the Warriors?
I think Jalen Brunson's the key in this. We all know Luka's going to do well. I know Luka's going to do well. The Warriors know Luka's going to do well. Luka knows Luka's going to do well. And I don't think the Warriors are going to have a problem scoring at home. But Jalen Brunson, with the style of offense that the Mavs run, which, like Blaine pointed out, is like a thunderstorm in the summer during the thunderstorm in the South during the summer. That's a lot tougher to say than what you think. It's isolated and isolation. That's really what they run. If Jalen Brunson is able to abuse the guards for the Warriors, and regardless of who's out there, and Jalen Brunson's shown the ability to do it against big guards. He's shown the ability, obviously, to do it against smaller guards because he's not the biggest guard. But if Jalen Brunson is able to be as effective as he has been, not only on the offensive end but the defensive end, the Mavs are going to be in these games. But the Warriors, especially at home, if Steph and Clay are shooting and Draymond's facilitating, they're going to score a lot of points.
Just don't piss Luka off. Just don't piss him off. He's going to score anyway. Just don't. That Slovenian stare down that he'll give you is no joke. Just don't.
You lose.
Don't, I'm telling you.
He should dominate no matter what his emotions are, though.
Yeah, I know, but he'll dominate more if he's pissed off. If it's me, hey, man, good shot.
You know how dangerous Luka's
feeling? You're the best.
Feeling?
You should have won the MVP.
You should have. Just gas him up, gas him up, gas him up. But, I think it's less about the Mavericks and more about the Warriors. I mean, I look at Klay Thompson more than anybody on both sides of these teams. When Klay's going, the Warriors are almost impossible to beat. All right? And if Draymond's not turning the ball over, which Draymond usually doesn't, so there's a couple on and off games in the playoffs that he did that a lot at a rare clip that you really never see. But if Klay Thompson's hot, I believe in Steph Curry. All right? I believe in the system that the Warriors have. But if Klay's going, I know Game 6 of Klay's a real thing, but if Klay's hot earlier in the series, I just don't think the Mavericks will have enough. I know Luka's going to ball. I understand Jalen Brunson, but other than those two guys, I mean, Dinwiddie maybe, but at the end of the day, I still think the Warriors just have too much in and out. And I did just watch the Warriors did beat the Grizzlies, but I watched the Warriors get beat by 50 by the Grizzlies. So, I mean, who knows? Just don't piss Luka off.
I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen. I think the Warriors will win tonight. I think they'll be hot shooting. I think they lose Game 2 at home against the Mavs.
I wouldn't be surprised at that, actually. Let's move to the ice.
Let's do it.
The battle for the Sunshine State is underway, and the Lightning beat up on the Panthers pretty good, 4-1. Is this series already over?
I don't think it is. The Panthers lost Game 1 against the Caps, but, man, the Lightning, even without Braden Point, and I tweeted out on social media, you look at the power point difference, and I think obviously had a big effect in this game. The Lightning scored 3 goals, I believe, off power plays. The Panthers, who were 0 for 18 coming in, were 0 for 3 again last night. But even without Braden Point, the Lightning were able to be effective later in the game on the power play, and they looked so organized and so experienced and so calm. The first 2 periods of this game were really slow. It wasn't fast-paced hockey. It was like they were just kind of jabbing a little bit in the ring. Everybody was kind of feeling everybody out. In the third period, it picked up. But the Panthers continue to struggle in Game 1, but they never got into a rhythm offensively. And one of those reasons is because Vasilevsky is just an absolute monster in the goal. I mean, this guy, you look at how he operates. He obviously brings it every game. He's blocked 94 of the last 99 shots. Okay? Think about that. 94 of the last 99 shots. You have veteran guys like Stamkos and others on that Lightning team. Again, you can't teach experience, especially championship experience. The Lightning, I think are going to win the series, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think it's going to get a lot more competitive. And now the theory gets put back into work for game 2. My betting theory with the Panthers, you can't lose the first 2 at home. It's a must win. I will go ahead and tell you tomorrow I will be taking the Florida Panthers money line.
Interesting. Okay, I think they might, but we'll see. The Blues forced the Avalanche to overtime last night. Sorry about that, Blaine. Have we overlooked the Blues as a serious contender in these Stanley Cup finals?
Well, we talked about rest versus rust yesterday, but let's call a spade a spade. They tied the Stanley Cup record for post-hit.
You talking about the Avs?
The Avs.
The Avs, yeah.
Yeah. And look, the Blues they're a good team. I think they're the best team in hockey on the power play. I believe one of the best. They're able to score a power play goal late last night. But the Avs could have legitimately scored 5 to 6 goals. There was a point, I think, early in the third period where the Avs had 71 shots on goal and had 2 goals. Bennington, talk about Vasilevsky. Bennington was on one last night. Was absolutely on one. But the Avs missed 2 bunnies at the net. Bunnies at the net. And Bennington was able to save it. I don't worry about the Avs. They were overwhelmingly better than the Blues last night. They dominated the possession. And I want to go back and say something about the Lightning I thought that was pretty. The Lightning played 5 defensemen a lot of times during that game. If you went back and looked the way the Lightning played it, thought that was really interesting. But back on this game, the Avalanche are way better. They overwhelmed them. I mean, pun intended, they avalanched them offensively. It was shot after shot after shot. I thought it was in a Lil Jon video.
Yeah, Avalanche for sure screwed me. That's what they did. But, I deserved it. I deserved it because I sat in this chair before both of you yesterday.
Talked about the Lightning.
And I said, I think the Lightning are going to win this game.
Yep.
You did.
Right? And the whole time, probably 30 minutes before the show, I'm going to bet this.
You said you wanted to see it first.
And I wanted to see you know why? Because, yesterday I was a coward. I was a coward yesterday.
All you can do.
And I deserve to go 0-2 in bets after not taking the Lightning.
All you can do is admit that and be stronger today.
Right.
I'm proud of you for admitting that.
I'm going to go tell everybody hear this right now. No one's beating the Lightning.
Wow.
I don't think you're crazy saying that.
No one's beating them. I've seen it.
3-peat.
No one's beating them. They might sweep the Panthers.
Well, I'll tell you what. Our Nashville Predators.
Y'all's Nashville Predators.
They set the bar pretty low. So the Blues, if they just win one game here, they'll make it a better series.
There is a very high chance that I am taking the Panthers money line tomorrow and the Avs -1.5. I'm just telling you, there's a very high chance of that.
The coach of the Avalanche, I just want you to know
that
that line change was the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time.
Screwed. That's what got you.
8 seconds left in the power play, and they line change with the puck not even clearing. And they line change, and the dude just ran down and scored a goal. You should be fined.
Tell us about it.
I watched for 6 months extremely closely.
Blaine, I want you to read some of the comments and maybe questions from the Booster Club as I head over to the chalkboard of relinquished friendship. Regained friendship. Life, love, loss, liberty, and
boring Florida man.
Levin. Look, yesterday, we're not going to talk about it. We're moving on. I woke up this morning, had my oatmeal, stared at my animal, and felt good about it. So here's what I'm going with. Blaine, you going to read something from the Boost Club while I'm up here?
You were talking.
I know. I got done. Go ahead.
Here's what I'm going with twice. What are you going with?
I'm going with you going to the Booster Club. Then I'm telling them what I'm going with.
Paycob 1196898 says, "Shame on you, Blaine.
Shame on you.
But the beard is the best. I'll take it."
He made up the ending.
All right. There was only one of the crazy. No, I didn't. CBA says there was only one of the guys' bets I hit last night. Rough night. You're right.
And that only by the grace of the Marlins.
We bet every day.
But look at that total.
The bottom of the
Go ahead and look at that total.
Yeah.
Then talk your ish.
What a rough night.
Let me tell you a story. There it is right there.
Nate Dogg, are we still going to get a segment on a more in-depth or how to bet? I'm still a baby at betting. Takes time.
Hey, you know what? We may do that. We'll do that next Monday.
We may need to do that, yeah.
We may need to do that next Monday.
Hunter, when is Blaine going to choose his NHL team? My recruitment's open right now.
I'm committing tomorrow. So we're working on a graphic for it. I'm committing tomorrow between the...
You see what I tagged you in yesterday?
What'd you tag me in?
Okay, we'll go back. We'll talk about it after. I found a team.
You Twittering?
Yeah, I'm Twittering.
You Twittering?
I'm learning how to Twitter it.
One more, Blaine.
I wanted to be good. Jacktail 1196. We know the feeling of this. We felt this.
Everybody's been through it.
Said that board up there, it's broken his heart.
It's broken. My heart. Look at me.
Broken inside right now.
I mean, I'm almost.
You get those pieces, you put them back together.
Mm-hmm.
Humpty Dumpty.
You wake up, You walk outside and you scream, I'm a man.
It's a teacher of
Then
life.
you scream America.
It's a teacher of life, that board.
It is. That's why it's the chalkboard of emotional
There's
justice.
no participation trophies.
No, we're not subsidizing
No.
this. I promise you that.
No.
You can subscribe, but we're not subsidizing anything. Here's what I got. Canes money line tonight.
I like
Why
it.
not? Why not?
I like it.
Game 1, got to show up, guys. That one's going off at -175. And give me the Flames money line, -165. I'm going with the home teams, fellas. I'm going with the home teams. It's been a 1-1 type of month. 1-1, fun in the sun. It's been that type of month. Giant cone, not replacement cone or baby cone. Actually, your normal size David cone, because that's the only size David cone comes in.
This is the only size.
That's true.
Marlins, Nats, first inning, no runs.
Ooh, no
Taking a
runs.
little page out of Blaine's book here, okay?
Okay.
-135. And then I want the Oilers. I'm not as brave as my man across the way there. I want the Oilers plus a goal and a half at -170, mostly because you guys are running away with the month and I need to get back on track.
Okay. I've decided, first of all, no. Second, I've decided that, you know what, I'm just going to sabotage myself for the rest of the month.
Whoa.
Because I deserve it after yesterday.
Are you fading yourself?
No, I'm just going to make the worst bets possible.
That's
Let's walk up to the board and look at them. All right. Marlins, -1.5 plus 114, never's going to hit. It'll never hit. Don't even think about betting. I wouldn't touch it. Maybe fade me. All right, then, hey, let's go Oilers. Plus 140, right? Because who cares?
You know,
Because I didn't choose the Lightning, and now I'm dead inside.
well. Now I really feel good about that pick now because now it's going to hit.
well, you've always been dead inside, so that works out.
Yeah.
Oh, baby cone. By the way, baby cone. Astros first 5 -0.5, so they got to be leading. -105. Baby cone. Giants. Help us, God. All right, let's get to booster bets. Here's what we got today. Boring Florida man is 5-0. It's turned up down in Florida. Stays turned up. Wants the Warriors -5. JT Bryan 91, also 5-0. Canes money line. Bet buds, please. Let's do it. Revco 250 is 4-0. Wants the Astros first 5 money line as well. Bet buds with baby cone.
Yep.
Tall Riot 3-0. Wants the Rays money line. That's -170. Papa Link 90 wants the Phillies money line -150. He's 2-0. So is BJPS 09XU13. But call him BJPS. Braves versus Brewers. He wants the under 6.5. It's probably a good bet.
Braves
I guarantee you it probably already hit.
Braves were up 4-0.
They were up 4-0. Well, you're still covering. Valigator is 2-0. Wants the Oilers plus 1.5 at -192. Blaine, you took a money line. That's correct. Bracket Dom 2-0. Wants LAFC to beat Austin FC. That's -200, right at the cap of the cap. That counts. And Spell Shock, welcome to the team, buddy. Welcome to the Booster Club. Wants the Dodgers -1.5. A lot of people are picking that. Blaine, we got a couple minutes. Let's dive into the Booster Club YouTube branch.
You want the YouTube brand?
Yes.
Let's poke.
You never go over to the YouTube branch.
Well, you know,
You need to.
I stay true to both.
Sometimes you got to go, Robert, California, and go over to the branch and just be there.
All right, Colleen Houston,
Yes.
college football.
Good.
All right. I think Notre Dame can coach up the O-line. They can put up a good fight at Ohio State and maybe shock the world.
In Columbus?
Shock the nation.
In
They
Columbus?
Coming off what happened last year to the Buckeyes late in the season, C.J. Stroud, scream it loud. I'm just telling you, Ohio State is going to be really, really good. Notre Dame, new head coach Marcus Freeman. Imagine being Marcus Freeman in the first 2 games you really have to coach, even though they don't count the bowl game, was a New Year's 6 bowl game, and then your first game's at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Good luck, bud.
Yeah, best of luck. And Ryan Day just got an extension today.
Yeah.
Top 5 paid head coach, over $9 million. Before Michigan beat them in the regular season last season, he was 23-0 in conference games.
Look, Ohio State, they may beat Notre Dame by 21. I'm just telling you. But look, you never know, Colleen. It's college football. That's what makes it interesting.
All right, Hudson Aldebrando.
Oh, nice.
Like I said that.
Different hoodie.
Hashtag ask Craig and Co. Love the show, guys. Downloaded Twitter just for you guys.
Hey.
Appreciate it, big dog.
Goat.
All right, do the Eagles still win the Super Bowl from a few years ago if Carson Wentz plays instead of Nick Foles?
You know what? I'm going to say yes, because I don't think Nick Foles is that much better of a player at all, than Carson Wentz is. I think it was more about that team. It was their year. Doug Peterson did a hell of a job calling it. I think they win it with Carson Wentz. I really, really do.
I think so, too. They caught lightning in a bottle. They had a great team that year. Our boy BG with the sack on Brady.
I know. And it's not like Nick Foles stayed there and had an unbelievable career in Philly after winning the Super Bowl.
Or left and had an unbelievable
That's exactly right.
Jay Bagwell 2000. It's not a vacuum. All right, when is Baby Cone going to share his secrets And is it his secret? Is it a certain formula he drinks?
What formula?
Yeah, what formula? There's a shortage. That's why he's what did Babylon Bee put out today? Babies are just drinking whey protein now. So they're
listen, right now Pythagoras has more formulas than a lot of moms do. So
I keep asking for the secret, bud. I'll pass it along when I get it. I mean, you can tell I'm bringing up the rear right now.
Hunter said Georgia State will beat
Auburn.
Should have beat them.
Don't they open with Auburn?
South Carolina.
Oh,
whoa!
Carolina.
Week 1.
He knows it's in basketball, right?
Wow.
Okay, we'll see. Dangerous man.
Georgia Southern's the real GSU.
Paycop1196987 says Blaine, the Yankees are still going to go all the way.
27-9 right now.
Look, they haven't played a lot of teams over 500.
Blue Jays got to figure it out.
So you really don't know. All right. This next month, they got some real teams they're about to play, and then you're going to find out. It's baseball. It's still way too early.
Hey, is Garrett Cole going to have the spider tack today, or is he going to get knocked around Camden Yards by the Orioles?
I don't know. You see Yankees bit up there? Then no.
All right.
No spider tack for Garrett today.
One more. I'm feeling generous.
I don't like the last game in a sweep. Like, they're up 2-0 right now in a 3-game series. The last game, that worries me.
Even with Garrett on the mound?
Yeah. Now, if it was the Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw was on there just absolutely freaking out for 7 innings, then yeah. But other than that.
All right, one more.
Hunter says, I'm from South Carolina. I'll get 2 more. I'm from South Carolina, so I know what will go down. He has inside information.
Wow. We got an Owen Wilson situation behind enemy lines there.
Nate Dogg says, I don't watch the NBA anymore, not since the Jazz got robbed in the 97 series against the Bulls. And don't get me started.
Yeah, Craig Elo. Still in your nightmares.
Want another one?
Yeah, let's do it.
There's only one real USC, and that's the Trojans of Southern Cal. Watch out for them to take in the Pac-12 this year from Nate Dogg.
Look, Jordan Addison, he cut his list to Texas and USC today, so Bama's out. Look, he's going to USC. He's boys with Caleb Williams. That system that Lincoln runs fits any receiver well. I think you might as well just line them up at USC, and they're going to have a good roster. I just don't. Do they have enough throughout the season? I still like Utah to win the Pac-12, but to lose to Florida in week 1. I really do think it's going to happen. But make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, TikTok. TikTok's been glowing up. Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Instagram as well. Also, got another great guest for you tomorrow. Danny Cannell. We're talking college football. And then surprise, surprise, Friday, David Pogg's going to join us.
DP.
We're talking even more college football. We're going to overload you with some college football, so make sure you check it out. Parting thoughts.
Ron Rivera is the man.
Ron Rivera's cool, dude.
Shades are so sweet. Saw it on Twitter, man. Countdown when you get a little countdown clock for college football.
College
Yeah,
football countdown
I
clock.
was asking the guys like what kind of clock we should get. There was a jumbotron, which we've already talked about. Maybe we should just get a clock like right back here.
What are you talking about? I don't know. I didn't hear anything about a
We should.
Jumbotron. Jumbotron?
Dude, you see, they're like,
talking about
I saw
idea,
like you talking about the
grand though.
Talking about a lot.
They
of
sell
ideas.
those.
The mini
I-
jumbotrons.
We'll put a countdown clock.
There's a
to
person in my ear telling me
when
this.
college football kicks off.
Yeah.
And when the games.
I want one of those for the man cave. I want
when
a
the
mini
boys
jumbotron.
from Michigan go to Columbus. That's what
Danny
the other side
Danny
of the block.
Cannell tomorrow and DP Friday.
Look,
Boy,
I'm going to ask him.
hell
He
for
was
it.
down for the relegation in college football. I'm going to ask him about that. I'm going to ask him about the ACC. I'm going to ask him why he loves the SEC so much. You know, Danny Cannell, big SEC guy. Big
Loves
SEC.
it.
That's sarcasm.
I'm going to I'm going to ask him about Dabo Sweeney.
Ask him about him. Yabba dabba do. Also, I want to say this. I was thinking on the way into work today, when we get to football season, like we know the Bears Club keeps growing like a weed. You know, we're still going to spreadsheet that bad boy. But how many bets should we take on Saturday, like per Saturday? Because we're going to do obviously college football bets and NFL bets. Should we go 5 apiece or should we go like 7 apiece?
I don't know.
We got to talk. I
think it's from 3 to 5.
Because we have our sharps.
from 3 to 5. 3's not enough.
Well, is that including or not including sharps?
Not.
We have sharps.
what I'm
Then
saying.
we have Thursday night football. The MAC was playing on Wednesdays sometimes.
We just got to get in a room. We got to think tank
gotta
it.
figure it out.
We got to think tank
We'll
it.
get it.
Last year we just threw a bunch of bets out. We'll think tank it. We'll make sure it's structured because it's got to be what, Blaine? It's got to be steady.
Got to keep it steady.
Got to keep it steady.
I'm the head coach.
Can you zoom in on Blaine's
bobblehead.
face when he does that?
You're a bobblehead.
Do it again, Blaine. Do it
Keep
again.
it steady.
That's hilarious. All right, we
Okay, I was going to say, you want to hear something else funny?
what?
There used to be a guy I know, and he loves this joke, but one of his legs are longer than the other. So when he walked, his head would move like this. You know what his nickname was?
What?
The Sniper's Nightmare.
Back and forth.
My brother, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, we appreciate you guys joining us. Got Danny Cannell tomorrow. Another great show. Like I said, make sure you're following us. And like Utah's chances of being undefeated after they go to the Swamp week 1.
No.
We're gone.
This is good.